make it look very organic.
Hi! Hello!
So natural. Oh my gosh, what a surprise.
He lurked in too.
Hi guys.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
Nice to see you. I remember you from that other video.
From that other video.
Well, you actually, this is a good segue to actually start. You were the impetus, the motivation, the inspiration to starting to do some of these one-on-one like conversations where it's a little bit deeper than just kind of a happy hour or kind of a phone call, different conversations that we've had in the past. So I did enjoy speaking even to you.
Are you sure?
Word, man.
Yeah.
I don't think Nima knows what impetus means. Do you know? Do you need to look that up?
Thesaurus down there or something?
Well, so then I was like, okay, after I'm done talking to both of you, who else do I know? I've run out of all my successful friends. So this is
Reciprocating friendship here, man.
this is it. So yeah, well, after talking to Nima, I feel like I need to graduate to bigger and better. So now I'm talking to
Nima
Sarah.
really just wanted you to come over here so he could show you his house. That was
Again,
the only
I know.
reason he invited you over.
Come over?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't.
Really? That's
With
not
his
why you had the
big
camera
hands
crew come
and
over?
big personality and just loud.
Just loud. I know. I keep saying I don't need this microphone, but.
Okay, can you please? We're having a conversation here. Thank you very much. Nice
Nima, good to see you. Thank you for this inspiration. Mwah. I love you.
Bye.
Sarah, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm very excited to sit down and have a conversation with you to learn a little bit more about some of the things that you're doing. It's very impressive. And I think we just kind of want to jump right in. I think for some of the people that may not know you that are going to watch this, I want to just talk a little bit about your background so they know why we're sitting down. Educated at Anteater at University of Irvine.
Mm-hmm.
Let me make sure I get this correct. Second, did your residency at Georgetown.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
No, Western goes second.
Western Med School.
Western Med School, Georgetown
residency.
residency.
Exactly.
See, my notes are somewhere, but I just kind of freestyle. So, you're a doctor now currently at UCSD.
Yes.
And a neurologist.
Yes.
And you also are an entrepreneur, which I find to be incredibly interesting as and a fellow entrepreneur. But let's talk a little bit about what you're doing currently at UCSD. Let's kind of jump in there.
Well, I'm a neurologist. I'm double board certified in neurology and headache. So I'm a headache specialist there. So I see a lot of headache patients, which is fun. I love headache medicine. There's so many people that suffer from migraines, right? But there were actually, and this is sort of how I started the business side of things, is because I started treating a lot of my headache patients who were overweight with these new injectable weight loss meds. And they were doing so much better in terms of their headaches, but also my patients, as a neurologist, I also see strokes, right? So like Alzheimer's dementias, vascular dementias that arise from multiple strokes, those are all vascular conditions, which I was so disappointed in seeing how little other doctors were talking about prevention. And there were so many overweight people that could have benefited from weight loss meds that weren't on them. So I said, you know what, this is crazy that we have this new class of meds out. And this is right when, Ozempic, Wegovy came out, and then the second class, like the bigger and better one, the next level up, Mounjaro, came out. And so I said, I'm gonna put my patients on this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna make them wait a whole entire year and have to go through the BS of being in a hospital system or any healthcare system these days is so freaking frustrating.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Because patients have to wait forever to get in to see a specialist. And doctors are frustrated because they're taking on so much. So I started taking on a lot because I was doing the preventative side of things. I was doing weight management.
You're actually not encouraged to do preventative at the UC level, right? Like the hospital level, isn't it just turn and burn?
Listen, no, that's not true. Technically, yes. Like we are encouraged to talk about smoking cessation, right? Lifestyle choices. But when you are working so hard as a doctor to see a gazillion patients as fast as you can, the burnout rate is so high. Who has an extra 10 minutes to talk about prevention?
Right.
You don't.
How many, just on average, how many patients would you see or are seeing a day? Like how booked are you?
Well, I don't see that many patients at UCSD right now. I've gone part-time.
Just so someone can have the idea, I think we've talked about this before, but there's a lot of people, like you can't, it's hard to book you, right?
I have a 6 to 7 month wait list. Actually, I'm sorry, that was like 6 months ago. Now I have a 9-month wait list to see me. And that's not because I'm like crazy good. I'm good, fine. It's just because this is healthcare in the US. It's really hard to get in to see a doctor. So anyway, it's this whole bureaucracy of medicine that's so frustrating. And so a lot of doctors have turned to what's going to fulfill me, what's going to make me happy. What makes me happy is seeing patients actually succeed. And being able to get patients in to see me quickly and get on meds that they need with these weight loss meds has been incredible. Like they're happier, healthier, their diseases are prevented. Cancers are significantly reduced in risk when you lose weight. Did you know that?
Yeah,
like it's
wow.
not all about just like looking sexy.
Right.
It's not all about looking slim and fit. It's about actually improving your health. So anyways, that's why I started the whole Dr. Brain RX, and that's why I do weight loss now. That's the doctored entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur, I am a businesswoman, but I'm enjoying doing something that actually makes an impact on people's lives.
I love that. I love that. So I think one of the things you said was going from a neurologist at UCSD into that entrepreneur journey. What do you do? Because from a preventative standpoint, that's a little bit different than a treatment standpoint. So what are some of the things, because I'm assuming it's more time, which is a little bit more cost because time is money when you're an entrepreneur. How do you balance the want to cure and the want to help somebody at a holistic level with the business side of it, of trying to also generate revenue and income with a lot of patients? So how do you view some of that?
You just have to practice outside the confines of the regular healthcare system now, which is doable, but so for instance, for my practice now doing weight loss, patients can get in to see me like this. They don't have to wait forever, but they can't see me through insurance.
Got it.
Why? Because insurance makes you wait forever and ever to see these select doctors. Now anybody can see me regardless. Do you have insurance? What insurance do you have? Is it Medi-Cal? Is it Medicaid? Is it private insurance? Or do you not have insurance at all? You can see me today, but you have to pay a membership fee. For me, it's actually really low. It's like nothing. It's $99 a month.
Wow.
Right? That's really affordable to everyone. But the whole point is that you sort of have to think outside the box. And that's why there's so many doctors now doing these kinds of services, is because working with insurance and working within the traditional healthcare system has become so frustrating.
It sounds like there's an incredible amount of benefit to weight control and prevention of obesity and some of those things. So if somebody is kind of there and you would recommend this as an option, so they would contact you, you can do this remote, so you can see people from all over the country?
Yeah. Our practice is located in 20 states. So
wow.
About half the country can come in, click on a link, and they come and see us.
Set a time.
Yeah.
Okay, and then as far as like Ozempic and some of the other ones, what was the other one that you mentioned?
Mounjaro.
Mounjaro. And then those two things, they're going to be paying out of pocket?
No. We actually run something called prior auth, so we run those medications through insurance.
Oh, you do?
Not
Okay.
everyone's a candidate to get it through insurance.
Right.
Like a typical candidate to get it through insurance, so insurance won't pay for it for everyone. So some people are paying out of pocket, yeah.
What are some of the success stories that you've seen? What are some of the moments where you as a doctor were like, wow, this is incredible?
The biggest success stories are not like, God, I look so good in that dress. The biggest success stories are the patients who come back to me and tell me my life is changed. I have less pain. I'm more confident. I'm doing better at work, or like I got a new job. I had one guy, he's so sweet, is super chatty, so nice though. And he's been lonely for years, hasn't dated, he's been alone, and he just could not lose weight. And so we put him on these medications. It took him a while, actually. He wasn't like one of my quick weight loss guys. But after about 7-8 months now, he has lost so much weight.
Wow.
And he's like, now I can date again. I have so much more confidence. And he doesn't even want to talk to me as much as he did anymore because he's got a life now.
Busy.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. It's just so fun to see people's confidence shoot through the roof when they feel good about themselves.
What does the actual medication do? And do you have to stay on it? I think one of the misconceptions is you kind of stay on it for the rest of your life. Do you have any insight that people like, for me, I've never taken it, don't understand much about it?
So the medication works on a few different levels. It works on on gut hormones and it works on brain hormones. So it inhibits GLP-1 and GIP, and really does a few things. It makes you just not feel as hungry.
Okay.
Okay, it works on some area of the brain called the hypothalamus, and then it also works to decrease the amount, or to increase the amount of times that food passes through your gut, so you feel fuller for for a much longer period of time. So you feel fuller for longer, and you're not as hungry, right? So it's ultimately calories in versus calories out.
Right.
You're just not taking in as many calories. But a lot of the people that I start on these meds, I tell them, hey, if you are not going to put in the work, then don't start the medication. Don't waste your time and don't waste your money.
What does the business look like today, and where do you see the business kind of evolving and growing into?
That is a great question. If you asked me that a year ago, I would have said, I want to, in all honest truth, okay, I want to grow, and I want to put myself in a place for acquisition. That would have been the honest truth. At this point, I'm like, well, okay, what do you do when at some point you grow a business and you're having fun doing it, you're seeing people really be so happy, and then you sell a business? What the heck do you do after?
Right.
You would reinvest your money into a new business? I don't know. That's a great question for someone like you, right? Who's like grown a business. You've become so successful, and now you've set yourself up to do anything you want, which is like such a great place to be, right? You've got options, but then like truly, what do you do?
I think the hardest part of the journey is going from solopreneur to entrepreneur. So you've already taken the hardest step.
Yeah.
Now you're at this, there's kind of levels to it, right? And once you have 3 or 4 employees, do I want 20? Do I want to sell? Do I want to build a business where I can step away and just kind of manage? And I will tell you, kind of funny, and you could disagree with this, doctors and attorneys are like the 2 worst entrepreneurs. Because they're so
true.
used to the practice, right? Their whole
Academia.
The academia.
You're in a textbook.
You're in a textbook, and you're working on your craft, not necessarily the business of your craft.
Yeah.
So we've studied attorneys and doctors a lot, so I'm so fascinated and appreciative that you're opening up about the entrepreneur journey of being a doctor. And I love what you're doing. I love this idea of doctor to entrepreneur, just because it's so infrequent. You mentioned something that I want to just touch on before we move on to other topics, but the idea of preventative care.
Yeah.
And so how should we maybe look at that? How can you give advice to folks that do care? Like I say this to a lot of people, and you're the CEO of your own life. You're the CEO of your health. And I think it's an important point, is because people need to be an active participant in their health. This is the way I look at it. And so the way I do that is by, once every 3 months, I get blood draws and full panel work. I look at my diet and how mostly for me is, what's my diet, and then what's my energy level? What's my sleep level? Like, I'm constantly evaluating, kind of tinkering with it. So not necessarily biohack, although you could probably look at some of it as that. What I'm trying to do is CEO this, right? So I want data. I want my own kind of scale of 1 to 5 on how I see my energy levels and my sleep, and like how engaged am I in my conversations or my relationships? How active am I? Am I saying yes to a lot of things? Because me saying yes fills me up, right? Versus, kind of staying home and isolated. I'm not really big on that. But when you talk about preventative care and prevention of maybe some of the disease that's out there, or some of the obesity, or what are these things? How do you advise on some of that for people that are out there?
So I think people are so focused sometimes on like, what device can I get? What are the numbers that I can read?
What's the pill I can take?
What's the pill I can take?
Right.
What's the magic solution without putting in the work? What's the work? And then they omit basic things like sleep. And when I say sleep, it's like you've got these people who are like, I can't sleep, I can't fall asleep, I can't stay asleep, I'm exhausted all day. Well, do you practice good sleep hygiene? And they're like, what's sleep hygiene? I shower every night. I'm like, no, that's not sleep hygiene. Do you turn off your screens before sleep? Do you eat big meals before you go to sleep? Are you drinking wine or any form of alcohol before you go to sleep? Are you exercising vigorously before sleep? And they're saying yes to 3 out of the 4 or 5. And they're getting poor quality sleep. If you cannot sleep, you can't consolidate memory. You can't stay awake during the daytime. You can't stay focused. and you feel exhausted, but then also you increase your risk of all sorts of vascular diseases, right? Like heart attacks, strokes. Sleep is so critical. So they're not putting in the work of sleep. They're not putting in the work of just regular diet. Like they're following some weird diet much of the time. Right. They're like, I gotta go do the carnivore diet, or I gotta go do full on keto. And it's like,
you've got to have heard it all.
I hate it. It's so annoying. Wait, I want to show you my Zen Garden.
Yes, we were just going to move to that. This is a good.
Speaking of biohacking, I'm going to show you my Zen Garden.
We are going to go show off this house.
I think your folks can use. I'm sorry, I'm going to go through this door.
Oh yeah, this is fun.
The secret door.
I feel zen already.
Yes. Okay, so you guys met Nima, that's my husband, and he had this idea for this spa. And actually, it has been used. He used the sauna this morning, you can tell. There's the water droplets. I have used this spa room all of one time.
No, come on, really?
I swear, it's so sad. But I have 2 kids and I work and I have another job and I have another job and it's too busy.
I need that.
Yeah, but it is amazing. I mean, I wish I could use it more.
What? How hot does this get?
I don't know. I have no idea.
No idea.
No clue. It gets hot.
Yeah.
It's really hot.
So you're the one who is like no on the biohacking, and then your husband builds a biohacking.
Well, a biohacking room, right?
Wait,
no,
does
let
he
me
have
show
the cold
you
plunge?
this. Yes.
Oh,
so
nice.
this is
There we go.
this is our Zen Garden, which is like such a special place. It's so zen, which is why we call it the Zen Garden. And this is our cold plunge.
Let's focus on that. That's 46. Nima should be closer to 38, 39. So clearly.
Well, give him a break. This was broken for a few weeks, so we had to wait to turn
Sarah,
it back on.
I don't think you know me and Nima. I am definitely not giving him a break.
This is so ridiculously cold. And here's the thing, Casey. Listen, it's freaking cold.
It's really cold.
It's not for me. Like the biohacking stuff.
Have you done? So you have done it.
I've done it in a pool.
But not
where
this
the
one.
coldest is 50 degrees.
And you have not done this
I'm
one.
not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And I'm pregnant right now. I'm 3 months pregnant with my 3rd child. Let's keep that baby. Let's keep that baby safe.
All right, where are we sitting?
Let's talk about this biohacking stuff.
Okay, this is incredible. Good night.
I know.
So we did talk about biohacking. I did tell you I have tried everything. Cold plunge and sauna are 2 that I really enjoy. I would imagine, and I'm guessing here, but a lot of people want the quick, easy way to do things. You've already talked about a lot of it is basics. You have to do the work. Are there anything that you've seen, whether through practice or through research or through things that you've heard as someone in your position that you tend to think do work? Or what are your thoughts on biohacking in general?
I mean, okay, I get asked this question all the time because I'm a neurologist, I'm a freaking brain doctor, right? People are always like, what's your take on cold plunging? And I'm like, you know what? Listen, if it makes you feel good and it gives you a temporary rush of endorphins and norepinephrine, it makes you happier and it makes you feel better, do it. And if it gives you energy, that's great. I don't like it. It's too cold for me. And also, right, like there's no great evidence that shows that it actually is beneficial for your heart, as the claims suggest. There's some evidence that it could impede muscle hypertrophy, right? Like there's some evidence that if you do it at a specific time, it can actually work against your
resistance
muscle
training.
building.
Right. Yeah.
And so, again, if it like works for you and you really think that it's helping your lymphatic system and your circulatory system, like your blood flow, wonderful. Do it. Your immune system, like there's health claims about cold plunging that I think there's some truth to. I'm sure there is.
What do you think? Okay, how about hydration? Is that an underrated longevity hack, or does it just short-term health benefits?
What does that even mean hydration.
Like drink water.
Yes,
Just-
drink water. But that's
What about
so,
IVs? Like IVs, or where you get vitamins and you do a weekly, monthly? Is there any benefit to IVs?
No,
No.
not unless you are so severely dehydrated and you cannot tolerate oral intake. If you're having vomiting and diarrhea and you can't keep in the water that you need to keep your blood pressure up, go to the nearest emergency room and get some IV hydration. But otherwise, why are you getting regular IV hydration? That makes no sense. I am just a believer in evidence-based medicine, which means if the evidence suggests that it's actually beneficial, wonderful. Like, let's talk about how many meds and supplements came out before these new weight loss meds, like Ozempic, right? And how many people were making so much money off of vitamins that they claimed work. Hydroxycut and like all of these crazy supplements that they said work to help you lose weight. When in fact, a lot of these things may have helped a little bit, but also had crazy risks and side effects.
Where
and
they even pulled some of them off the market,
that's right,
Yeah.
exactly. And now we've got evidence-based medicine that show the significant benefit of these new weight loss injections that work, that are safe, despite what some people think. They're like, oh, it's gonna, increase your risk of muscle atrophy and all of this. Well, if you don't do it correctly and if it's not dosed properly, sure, maybe. But I am a believer in evidence-based medicine, right? And I just think that there's so many people trying to make a quick buck off of biohacking. I think that there's some truth to some of it. I really do. I think that some of it can be beneficial and helpful. Like saunas and steam rooms can have some benefit. They can also be harmful to certain patient populations.
So how do you just personally, because you have all of this data research, but also you personally stay in great shape, your skin looks amazing, you look 10 years younger, maybe 15 younger than you are. What do you do?
I'm up in the med spa.
Okay.
Okay? I'm not biohacking. But listen, if you told me in 10 years or in 5 years even, when I'm not pregnant, that you did this IV therapy and you like totally aged backwards, I might be there with you. Okay.
What about stem cell? Any thoughts on STEM or PRP? Some of the.
I mean, PRP is beneficial for your joints and for tissue regeneration, right? Like there's good evidence to suggest that, and it's being used. But then some of this stuff is being misused, like they're injecting stem cells sometimes in the spinal cord to help with spinal cord regeneration, and there's been cases of tumor growth as a result. That's scary, right?
Is the Ozempic and the likes of those type of medications only used for, like, some of these people are probably looking at that as a biohack, right? To fix some of the problems. So you mentioned that, well, you got to do the work if you're going to actually get on this and then have it show some level of success. How big is this problem? Like, we have an obesity problem in the country, right?
Yeah.
Like, how big is the problem?
It's huge. There's
70%?
There's an epidemic. Oh, I don't know what the latest. How
It's
much
a
of
lot,
the U.S.
though, right?
is overweight? Yeah, I don't. The percent overweight versus the percent obese is different, but
Okay.
there's a huge percentage of the U.S. that is overweight, and they're at risk of dying early. But also other things like, not dying early, but just suffering from arthritis and cancer and heart attack and being disabled from a stroke. You know how many patients I have that come in and they're young, they're in their 60s, and they can't move half their body, they're paralyzed from a stroke? That could have been prevented. Wow. That could have been prevented by working on their vascular comorbidities by losing weight. So yes, you could consider it a hack, but it's an evidence-based one. It's also one of the most effective ones, right? Like, you want to hack? Lose weight, sleep, exercise, eat the right foods, be balanced, drink less alcohol. We know now that alcohol, like, no amount of it is good for you. Do I drink once in a while? Yeah. Like, not now. But when I'm not pregnant, yes, I'll have a drink with my friends because I'm a believer in just being balanced. I'll have 1 or 2 drinks, maybe 2 times a month, and I'll enjoy it without any guilt. Right? Like, I'm a balanced person, but I do not have wine every night with my husband or even regularly. This is like a social thing. It's not frequent at all. Tenets of health are important. practice those first. If you're not practicing those, all the biohacking stuff, even if it has some adjunct benefit, is BS if you're not doing the basics.
So the last question, then I want to see some more of the house, but I think this is, I've seen a lot of people that want to do something and they get stuck at the start, right? A lot, even like what we were talking about with being an entrepreneur, they're like, I don't know where to start. I want to do it, but I don't. Where do you advise people to start? Because when you say diet, sleep, exercise, right? Those are 3 core principles of solid health. Some of that can feel overwhelming, especially in the beginning. Where do you, or how can you advise someone who you really truly believe they want to do something, but they don't know where to begin?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, okay, maybe I'm saying this because this is what I do every day, but if they are overweight, I don't tell them, hey, you must lift weights at the beginning when they've never even picked up a dumbbell in their life. I get them on the medication. They lose 10 pounds and oh my God, they start feeling so much better. And then they're motivated to pick up the next thing, which is to start lifting weights.
Because that momentum is hard, right? Like especially in the beginning. And when you feel so, because I think you're discouraged just in general, right? There's a level of depression that goes along with being overweight where it's hard to start. It's hard to even if you just tell someone, walk. You're like, eh. Like we see it a lot in like people in
when
business.
I'm in a rut, when I'm in a low place, and I'm just like discouraged generally, I don't want to do shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything. I want to lay in bed and look at the ceiling. I'm sorry to turn this around on you. No, seriously. And you have much to be confident about, okay? Like, yes, that confidence is valid. But where the hell do you get so much confidence sometimes?
I've had others ask me, like, what the hell? Like, no.
I mean that in the best way possible.
No, I know. I don't take it.
How do you, are you born with that? Is that something your parents had that they passed down to you? Was it, did you have some setback or something that made you more confident?
Yeah,
okay.
I got lucky. I did have really good parents. They did instill confidence in me at a very young age. So I advise all parents, and I work with a lot of moms, and I talk to them a lot about how I was raised to always like this idea of belief. My father used to always be like, you know what? You're special. You're going to do something special. You have a gift. And like used to always focus on like the things that I could do.
Did you know that what's trending on Instagram now
is
do not tell your kids that they're that special?
Well, I think probably because we started giving trophies out for 7th place, right? Like my parents did not tell me I was good when I wasn't. They would say, here's the things that you're really good at. You have a gift. Do something with these gifts. Like here are the things you're good at. Now go do something in the world that's representative of your family and the gifts that you have. But they were never celebrating like if
failures.
They were like, we were really clear on the lines.
Yeah.
With that, let's take a look at one more spot in your house because there's no way that
because my husband said we have to show it on this video.
And to be honest, like it is video worthy.
Trying my best.
This is real zen. I just worry like my eyes are gonna be shut and then Nima's gonna come in and start doing something to me. So it would be hard for me to like really relax here.
I know.
Unless I knew Nima was like somewhere close where I could just see him. So thank you for having us and showing us around the bar. One of the last things we wanted to do is we kind of showcase downstairs and talk to you that keeps coming up in my head is I love hearing about how people think or strategize around balancing their careers and their family and then their personal wants and needs. How do you look at all of that? And how do you think through some of that stuff to be able to do what you've done in only, such a short amount of time?
Yeah. I feel like this conversation is a little tricky because I think a lot of the people that talk about balance who are women make it sound as though, number one, it's either really easy, like sure you can do it, you can have children and run a business and be a doctor. It's really hard, and this is like a conversation that you're having with a woman, right? So I'm going to talk about this, but not all women want the same thing, and not all men want the same thing. Not everybody wants children, not everybody wants family, and that's okay. That's fine. You don't have to have kids to be happy. I did. I knew that I did, and my husband did.
Yeah.
We knew that we wanted children before we wanted them, and we dreamt about them. That was what I wanted in life. But okay, so there's the question, how do you reconcile all of that? You decide what you want first. Okay, I want all those things. I know what I want them. How am I going to get them? I'm going to do them one at a time. I had to postpone certain things. I'm 40 years old having my third child at 40 years old, and I wanted this child. Like, it wasn't a chance, it wasn't a fluke. It's crazy. Who does that, right? Like, people start having kids earlier. I'm starting later. It's harder. Why? Because I had to go to undergrad. I had to go to medical school. I had to go to residency.
Right.
Then I found my husband and we got married, and, you know, like, things had to happen a little bit later.
Right. Do you have a hard time
Because I
delegating, or
delayed
is it pretty
gratification.
easy at this point?
I'm
to where
a
you're
very good delegator.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You do
that's
this,
a skill.
and you do this, and you do this,
Yeah.
and I want it this way and that way and this way, and I'm not afraid to say what I want.
Yeah.
So delegating, yes, that is a special skill of mine.
I sit down and I talk to people that are as accomplished as you are. And by the way, thank you so much for your time today. I have learned a ton. But even more so than just all of the learning, it's just like I'm really proud of you as a friend
thank
on
you.
all of the things you've accomplished. But I'm curious, as part of that and a follow-up to some of the things that we've discussed today, how do you define your own success, or how do you look at success from the lens of someone who's accomplished so much?
At the end of the day, it comes down to happiness. That's it. If you are the richest, most successful person in the world, yet you're unhappy in your marriage, with your kids, with your life, everything else is meaningless. Meaningless. So it comes down to what your priorities are. My priority is joy.
Oh my gosh, the battery is dead. Unbelievable. And for the tax advice for the next one. Yes, we do. I do owe you that for sure.
Okay, that was fun.
That was awesome. Thank you so
We
much.
got, like, so much in.